So in this episode, we are going to be looking at arrays in Visual Basic. So let's actually get started by creating a module called program. Then inside of the module, you can have a main method called args. Then it's going to be an array. String, a string array. Then let's actually go ahead and declare our first array inside of here. So you might realize that we've actually been looking at the syntax of declaring an array in Visual Basic when we're declaring this parameter called args of type string. Is it the one that I mentioned in the previous episode when I say that it's used to pass command line arguments to your program. So let's look at how you can declare an array in Visual Basic. So let's let's declare an array to store maybe just 5 items. So these items could be maybe you can give them a data type. Maybe let's say these would be strings. So the way you can go about it is to say dim. Then let's call this one cities, and we can then say as a string, right? So what we need to do is we actually need to specify the number of elements that we want to be inside of this cities array. So maybe let's say we just want 5 cities from Zimbabwe, right? So that's how you can specify the number of cities that you want to have inside of the array. You just pass the number as an argument inside of the parentheses, as it were. Then let me check. Let me just confirm if this also works. So this doesn't work. So notice that the number of elements that are going to be inside of the array, it has to come next to the identifier for the array. You can't put it after the data type because it will give you an error. So what we can actually do is this is just declaration, right? You can actually do something called declaration and assignment. Declaration and assignment. So let's declare an array called vowels. As since these are vowels, what we can do is we can say as char, then we put that those parentheses. Then since we want to initialize the values for this array, what we can do is we immediately assign the values, or rather the vowels, as it were, which are forming the elements for this particular array. So you have our vowels A, E, I, O, U. Right, so that's how you can actually declare and assign values to an array. Then you can also then I think maybe in the previous tutorial, or rather the one episode where we did look at looping, we saw that you can actually use a for each to output each of these values inside of an array, or you can actually use a for each to search elements inside of the array. Then we can also declare 2D arrays, two-dimensional arrays. So 2D array declaration and assignment. Right, so let's actually declare an array called coordinates. Maybe we want to store coordinates on a Cartesian plane. Then we can declare these as a decimal, right? Then we need to put the parentheses for an array. Then since this is a 2D array, right, it's supposed to have a comma inside of the parentheses, so that the Visual Basic compiler, the VB compiler, knows that this is a 2D array. Then what we can actually do is to go ahead and have the first set of curly braces. So these are going to be the outer curly braces. Then we can have another set of curly braces, right? Then inside of here we can put some values. So we can put 2.2, 5.3. These are just random values, really. There's nothing fancy. Or there's There's nothing magical about these values. You can just put any values that you want. I'm just putting random values inside of here. So this is a 2D array, right? So a 2D array, the way it works is you can imagine or you can visualize a table with rows and columns, is it? So essentially your rows are going to become the first elements that you put right here. Then your columns are basically these, the 5.3 in this particular case. So remember, you can think or you can imagine a Cartesian plane, is it? So this is your x value, this is your y value, is it? Then this is another x value, another y value. So basically this is a table with two rows and two columns. Essentially that's how you can declare a 2D array in Visual Basic. Then one more important thing to notice about arrays is that they are zero based, is it? So by zero based, you mean that the first element inside of an array has an index of 0, is it? So to actually prove this point, what I can do is I can go console dot write line, right? So let's say I wanted to print the letter A from my vowels array, right? So I would go vowels, then I put the parentheses, then I say 0. Then I'm actually going to run this code, and you see that we get the character A printed onto the in the console, is it? So that's how you can access the element A, is it? So the first element is at index position 0. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, is it? So whilst you have 5 elements, right, the arrays, the array indices are basically n minus 1. So 5 minus 1 in this particular case. So it means the uppermost value or the uppermost element has an index value of 4, and the lowermost value has an index position of what? Of 0. So that's how these arrays work. Then maybe let's suppose that you wanted to print the coordinates inside of our coordinates array. Maybe let's say we wanted to output so let's say coordinates, there we go. So let's say we wanted to output 5.3, is it? So 5.3, remember I said that this is going to be the first set of coordinates, right? Then this is going to be the so remember this is x, y, is it? So to output, maybe let's actually go with the first one, right? Row 0. So if you wanted to output 2.2, we just have to pass 0.0 just like that. Then when we run this, we get A from the first array, then 2.2 from the second array, which is the coordinates for our that we would want to output in this particular instance. So yeah, I think that's just about it for this episode. That's the basics of array. Rather, that's all you need to know about arrays in Visual Basic, the declaration, assigning, and also how you can access the elements using the index values to obtain those values. So yeah, I think I'll see you in the next one.